Ty and I are having a legal wedding.
You and Ty are getting married.
Wait,
Ty and I are getting married.
Wait, these bombs just keep dropping.
Welcome back to the channel, and today we need to talk about Lisa, Daniel, and the new Nigerian man who suddenly walked into this story like the final twist in a season that already had too many explosions. Because just when everyone thought Lisa was finally done with Daniel, just when it looked like she had found her voice and was ready to walk away from that painful mess, she shocked everybody by revealing that she had already moved on with another man from Nigeria. Not just moved on in a small way. Not just texting, not just flirting, not just saying she was trying to heal. Lisa was talking about marriage, moving countries, starting over, and leaving everything behind once again. And that is where this story goes from messy to absolutely unbelievable. Because Lisa did not just leave Daniel. She ran straight into the arms of another man who promised her the one thing she has always wanted. He promised her love, safety, loyalty, and marriage. But once marriage became real, everything started changing. Before we get into Ty, we have to rewind to the tell-all, because that was the moment everything cracked open in front of everybody. Lisa had already been through one of the most disturbing emotional chapters of her life with Daniel. This was not just a normal breakup where two people argue, cry, block each other, and move on. This was a breakup where Daniel kept insisting that Lisa was still connected to him because of a traditional ceremony, a curse, and a marriage that Lisa did not fully understand when it happened. Daniel was not acting like a man who had accepted the end of a relationship. He was acting like a man who believed Lisa belonged to him. He kept saying they were traditionally married, and he even spoke in a way that made it seem like Lisa was not just his partner, but his property. That one word, master, changed the whole feeling of the conversation, because no woman should ever have to beg a man to stop calling himself her master. Lisa looked tired in that moment, but she also looked different. For once, she was not sitting there trying to explain Daniel, defend Daniel, protect Daniel, or make Daniel look better than he was. She was finally saying that she did not have that kind of love for him anymore. She was saying she had found her truth. She was saying she wanted her voice back. And then came the pregnancy reveal, which made the whole room freeze. Lisa said she had been pregnant with Daniel's child, and because of her medical history, it became a dangerous situation. That was not just another reality TV twist. That was serious. That was the kind of situation where a person needs support, care, and people around them who are thinking clearly. But according to Lisa, Daniel did not want people to know. Faith had to find out, and Lisa said she went through so much of it feeling alone. That is why Faith's reaction matters so much in this story. Faith is not just being dramatic. Faith is not just being protective in the way adult children sometimes get when they do not like their parents' partner. Faith has watched her mother fall into intense relationships again and again, and she has watched those relationships take over everything. She has watched Lisa chase love so hard that she forgets to stop and ask whether that love is actually safe. So when Lisa said she had a new man, Faith was not celebrating like this was some beautiful fresh chapter. She was looking at the pattern. And let's be honest, the pattern is the real villain here. Because Lisa did not introduce Ty like someone who was slowly helping her heal. She introduced him like the new answer to every old problem. She said he had been her friend. She said he was there when she needed him. She said he supported her through everything. She said he was no longer just her best friend, because now he was the love of her life. That phrase should scare everybody at this point, because Lisa has said versions of that before. Every time it sounds like destiny. Every time it sounds like she has finally found the person who understands her. Every time she believes this one is different, and every time the audience is left sitting there like they have seen this movie before, and the ending was not exactly a romantic comedy. Ty came into the tell-all through a video call. And at first, he seemed calm, he seemed respectful. He did not come in yelling like Daniel. He did not call Lisa his wife in that possessive way. He did not immediately act like he owned the room. Compared to Daniel, he looked like the safer option, and that is exactly what made the situation dangerous in a quieter way. Sometimes the second red flag is not louder than the first one. Sometimes it is softer, smoother, and better dressed. Ty said the traditional marriage with Daniel did not legally stop Lisa from moving on. He said if someone wants to move on, they can move on with anybody. On the surface, that sounded reasonable. It sounded like he was defending Lisa's freedom. It sounded like he was saying what everybody wanted to hear. But then Lisa dropped the next bomb. She said she was going back to Nigeria, and this time, Faith would go with her. She said Faith knew Ty and approved of him. Then she said the words that made everyone's jaw hit the floor. She said she and Ty were having a legal wedding. That is not moving on slowly. That is not healing. That is not taking a deep breath after a life-changing disaster. That is jumping from a burning house into a car that is already speeding down the road. Lisa tried to explain it like this time would be healthier. She said this time she had a boyfriend and not a master. And yes, that sounds better than Daniel. Nobody is arguing with that. But just because one man does not call himself your master does not automatically mean he is your savior. That is where the next chapter begins. In this next part of the story, Lisa starts preparing for Nigeria like she is preparing for a brand new life. She is smiling more. She is answering fewer of Daniel's messages. She is telling people she is finally free. She is telling Faith that Ty understands her in a way Daniel never did. She keeps repeating that Ty was there during her darkest time, and for Lisa, that becomes proof that he is the one. At first, Ty plays his role perfectly. He calls every morning, he checks on her health. He tells her she deserves peace. He tells her Daniel never appreciated her. He tells her Faith is smart for protecting her. He even tells Lisa that he respects her past and does not judge her for anything that happened before him. And because Lisa has been so emotionally beaten down, those words hit her like medicine. But then, slowly, the questions begin to change. At first, Ty asks when she is coming. Then he asks how long she plans to stay. Then he asks whether she has already bought the ticket. Then he asks whether she has told everyone she is moving for good. Then he asks whether she is bringing important documents. Because if they are getting legally married, everything needs to be ready. Lisa hears planning, but Faith hears pressure. Faith starts noticing that her mother is not thinking clearly anymore. Lisa is not talking about therapy, healing, rest, or taking time. She is talking about dresses, travel, wedding paperwork, and what life in Nigeria could look like. It is like she is trying to erase Daniel by writing Ty's name over every painful memory. And that is not healing. That is hiding. Daniel, meanwhile, refuses to disappear. He keeps sending messages, and even when Lisa does not answer, he finds a way to get his voice back into the story. He tells people Lisa will not really marry Ty. He says she always changes her mind. He says she will come back to him because they are husband and wife. Now Daniel is not exactly the voice of wisdom here. Let's not pretend this man suddenly became a relationship therapist because another man entered the picture. But sometimes the worst person in the room can still notice a bad pattern, mostly because they helped create it. Daniel knows Lisa's weakness. He knows she falls hard. He knows she wants someone to claim her, choose her, and make her feel like she finally belongs somewhere. And that is why he is so sure Ty cannot keep her unless he moves fast. The scary part is that Ty seems to know that too. As the days get closer to Lisa's trip, Ty becomes more intense. He starts saying things like, "When you get here, we need to make everything official quickly." He tells Lisa that people in Nigeria will talk if she comes and stays without a clear plan. He tells her that if she truly loves him, she should not be afraid of marriage. Lisa tries to laugh it off at first. She tells him he sounds excited. She tells him she wants to enjoy the moment. She tells him they do not have to rush every single step. That is when Ty's tone changes for the first time. He does not yell. He does not explode. He just gets quiet. He tells Lisa that he thought she trusted him. He tells her that after everything he did for her, it hurts him that she is acting unsure. He tells her he stood by her when Daniel hurt her, and now she is making him feel like a backup plan. That guilt lands exactly where he wants it to land. Lisa starts apologizing even though she did not do anything wrong. She tells him she does trust him. She tells him she is just nervous because of everything she has been through. Ty softens again, and just like that, the moment passes. But Faith catches it. Faith hears the change in Lisa's voice after those calls. She hears her mother going from excited to anxious. She sees Lisa checking her phone every few minutes, waiting to see if Ty is okay with her again. She watches Lisa explain away behavior that would have concerned her if anyone else described it. Faith finally tells her the truth. She says, "Mom, this looks like Daniel in a different outfit." Lisa does not want to hear that. She tells Faith that Ty is nothing like Daniel. She says Ty never called her his property. She says Ty supported her when Daniel disappeared. She says Ty does not scare her. She says this time is different because she is choosing from strength, not fear. But Faith asks one simple question that Lisa cannot answer. If this is strength, why does she look scared to slow down? That question sits in the air longer than Lisa wants it to. Then comes the airport. Lisa arrives in Nigeria with Faith by her side, and for the first few hours, everything feels beautiful. Ty shows up smiling. He brings flowers. He hugs Lisa like he has been waiting his whole life for that moment. He is respectful with Faith. He tells her he is grateful she came, because he wants her to see that his intentions are pure. Lisa is glowing. She looks relieved. She looks like she has finally proved everyone wrong. But then the camera starts catching small things. Ty keeps answering calls and stepping away. He says it is family. He says everybody is excited. He says people want to meet Lisa. Then he says his family is already expecting a formal meeting. Then he says they should not delay the marriage discussion because he has already told people Lisa is coming to become his wife. Lisa freezes a little. Faith notices immediately because Lisa thought she was coming to meet Ty and see how things felt. Ty thought Lisa was coming to finish what they had already promised. That is a very different trip. At dinner that night, Ty brings up the legal wedding again. He says they should pick a date. He says the sooner they do it, the sooner people will stop questioning them. Lisa says she wants time. Faith says they should all slow down. Ty smiles, but there is no warmth behind it. He says, "I thought Faith approved of me." That sentence changes the whole mood. Because now Faith is not just the daughter trying to protect her mother. She is being positioned as the obstacle. Lisa feels the pressure immediately. She does not want Ty upset. She does not want Faith to feel ignored. She does not want to admit that maybe Daniel was not the only man who knew how to pull her into chaos. So Lisa does what Lisa often does. She tries to keep everyone happy at the same time. She tells Ty that Faith does approve of him. She tells Faith that Ty is just nervous. She tells herself that this is all normal before a big life change. She keeps smiling, because if she stops smiling, she may have to face the fact that the fantasy is already cracking. Then, Daniel reappears in the worst possible way. Lisa gets a message from Daniel saying he knows she is in Nigeria. He says he knows she cannot avoid him forever. He says she can go to Ty's house, she can plan a wedding, and she can pretend she is free. But the traditional bond is still there. Lisa panics. Ty sees her face and asks what happened. Faith tells her not to engage. Lisa says it is nothing, but Ty already knows it is Daniel. And this is where Ty's jealousy starts showing. He asks why Daniel still has access to her. He asks why Daniel knows where she is. He asks why she did not block him completely. Lisa says she did block him before, but Daniel always finds a way. Ty tells her that a woman who is truly ready for marriage should not have another man circling her life. Lisa tries to explain that Daniel is not there because she wants him. He is there because he refuses to let go. Ty says he understands, but his face says something else. The next day, Ty becomes more controlling in small ways. He suggests Lisa not go anywhere without him. He says Nigeria is different and he just wants her safe. He asks to help manage her phone because Daniel is stressing her out. He says he can handle calls for her if people bother her. Faith sees the pattern getting louder. She pulls Lisa aside and says, "He is starting to sound like he wants to manage your life." Lisa gets defensive. She says Ty is protecting her. Faith says protection should not feel like permission. Lisa says Faith is judging him too fast. Faith says Lisa is trusting him too fast. That argument hurts, because both women love each other, but they are standing on opposite sides of the same fear. Faith is afraid of losing her mother to another man. Lisa is afraid that if she slows down, she will lose the only person who made her feel wanted after Daniel. Then comes the family meeting. Ty's relatives are polite at first, but the conversation quickly becomes uncomfortable. They ask Lisa about her past marriages. They ask about Daniel. They ask whether she is truly finished with him. They ask whether she plans to live in Nigeria permanently or take Ty back to America one day. Lisa was not ready for that question. Ty watches her closely. Lisa says they have not fully decided everything yet. Ty's smile fades. He says they have talked about building a life together. Lisa says yes, but building a life takes time. Ty says time is fine, but commitment has to come first. Faith looks at Lisa like she is watching the trap close in real time. Because now marriage is not being presented as a celebration. It is being presented as proof. Proof that Lisa loves Ty. Proof that she is over Daniel. Proof that she is serious about Nigeria. Proof that she is not wasting anyone's time. And that is when Lisa finally begins to feel it. The pressure she used to feel with Daniel was loud and spiritual and emotional. It was curses, traditions, control, and fear. The pressure with Ty is quieter. It is wrapped in sweet language. It sounds like love. It sounds like commitment. It sounds like family expectations. But pressure is still pressure, even when it arrives wearing a smile. That night, Lisa sits alone and looks through old messages. Daniel's messages are angry, desperate, and possessive. Ty's messages are loving, but underneath the love, there is urgency. Both men want something from her. Both men believe they know what her next move should be. Both men are pulling her in opposite directions, but neither one is asking whether she has taken enough time to breathe. For the first time, Lisa wonders if Faith was right. Maybe she did not choose Ty because she was healed. Maybe she chose Ty because he arrived at the exact moment she felt broken. Maybe he did not have to manipulate her at first, because she was already looking for someone to rescue her. The next morning, Ty arrives with wedding ideas already planned. He has spoken to people. He has a location in mind. He says things can move quickly if Lisa cooperates. That word lands badly. Cooperates? Lisa asks him why everything has to happen so fast. Ty says because love should not be delayed by fear. Faith finally steps in. She says love can wait if it is real. She says a man who truly wants Lisa should care more about her peace than his timeline. She says her mother just went through trauma, and nobody should be pushing her into another life-changing decision. Ty turns to Faith and says she is letting Daniel win. That is the moment Lisa snaps out of the fog. Because Daniel is not in the room. Daniel is not the reason Faith is worried. Daniel is not the reason Ty is pressuring them. Daniel may have started this storm, but Ty is now using the storm to rush Lisa into shelter that he controls. Lisa looks at Ty and asks him one thing. She asks whether he would still love her if she did not marry him right away. Ty pauses too long. That pause says more than any answer could. He eventually says he would love her, but he would be hurt. He says he would feel embarrassed. He says people would think he was foolish. He says everyone knows why she came. He says if she leaves without a wedding plan, people will think Daniel still has power over her. Lisa finally hears the real message. This is no longer about her healing. This is about Ty's pride, Ty's image, Ty's expectations, and Ty's timeline. And suddenly, the romantic dream feels smaller. Faith does not celebrate being right. She does not smile. She does not say she told her so, because this is not a victory. This is her mother's heart breaking in a new country, after she already begged her not to rush. Lisa tells Ty she needs time. Real time. Not a day. Not a conversation. Not a promise made under pressure. She says if he loves her, he will let her slow down without punishing her for it. Ty says he cannot force her, but his face changes again. That is when Lisa realizes the difference between a man who cannot force you and a man who simply stops being kind when you do not obey. Daniel hears about the delay somehow, because Daniel always seems to hear what he should not hear. He sends Lisa a message saying he knew she would not marry Ty. He says she is still his wife. He says she is confused and she will come back. But this time, Lisa does not answer. She does not run to Daniel. She does not run deeper into Ty's arms. She does not try to prove anything to either man. She sits with Faith, and for once. She lets the silence be uncomfortable instead of filling it with another promise. Faith tells her that going home is not failure. Lisa says she is tired of starting over. Faith says starting over alone might be better than restarting the same mistake with a new man. That line hits Lisa harder than anything Daniel or Ty said. By the end of this chapter, Lisa is standing between two men who both wanted to define her future. Daniel wanted her bound to the past. Ty wanted her rushed into a future. Faith wanted her to finally choose herself. And that is what makes this story so powerful. Because the real question is not whether Ty is better than Daniel. The real question is why Lisa keeps looking for a man to prove she is free from the last one. Ty promised marriage, but marriage was never the real ending. Marriage was the test. It showed whether Lisa was choosing love, fear, escape, or another cycle dressed up like a second chance. And once everything changed, Lisa had to face the one truth she had been avoiding from the beginning. Escaping Daniel was only the first step. Escaping the pattern was the real battle. So now the big question is this. Did Lisa finally wake up before it was too late? Or will she convince herself again that pressure is passion, control is protection, and fast love is the same thing as real love? Because if this chapter teaches us anything, it is that sometimes the most dangerous promise is not "I own you." Sometimes the most dangerous promise is "I can save you," especially when the person saying it is already asking you to hand over your whole life. This is a fictional story created for entertainment purposes.